wasn't good enough. Everything needed to be exactly right, and everything needed to work exactly as it was supposed to. And quite frankly, that plus stress nearly killed me. I suffered from burnout, and I suffer from migraines. Now, for those of you that have been unfortunate enough to suffer from a migraine will know the pain of your head splitting, the feeling of not being in control of your body anymore. And 2 years ago, I was practically confined to my bed with chronic migraines. I suffered migraines 25 days a month. Basically, I would wake up in the morning and not know whether I would be able to see, whether I would literally throw up, or whether my day would involve getting out of bed at all. And one of the aspects of that is I became addicted to painkillers. I was making decisions based on how my head hurt as to how I could then take the painkillers to shut my eyes next time I opened them to hopefully not have the pain. And I was very fortunate that I was given a redundancy package that allowed me to concentrate on my health. And I thought I beat it. I started taking antidepressants, I started taking magnesium, I started taking anything that was given to me as an answer to actually beat migraines. And eventually, have we got another microphone? Yeah? Let's try that. Okay. So eventually, a year and a half ago, I wasn't on any painkillers anymore. So I went to Thailand to detox. And in those 2 weeks, I got all of the painkillers out of my system, but I wasn't happy, and I did what I was meant to do. And I had become so dependent on pain being my story that I wasn't really sure what else there was for me. And I was offered a chance to go on a program in LA. This was about a year and a half ago. And this was going to be right speaking on a global stage, and I was scared. I was scared of everything I was being offered, everything, let's try this one, everything that was happening for me. Close? Okay. I was scared that everything that was being offered to me, everything that was coming my way, which sounded amazing, couldn't be true. It couldn't be happening to me. It couldn't be true. This wasn't, people were telling me positive things, and I wasn't used to a very positive life, so I rejected it all. And basically decided that I'd had enough. I got on a plane to Vietnam. I decided that I was going to volunteer at an orphanage that I had spent 2 weeks at in the summer. And at the end of that time, I was actually going to kill myself. I would spend 4 months giving as much love as I could to these children who had nothing, but then that was going to be it. And on Christmas Day, for some reason, I decided to dress as Father Christmas. I found a Father Christmas costume in this slightly oversized, not normal Vietnamese size body that I have. And on Christmas Day, I had a very fluffy beard, and one of the orphans was very sick and actually passed away that day. And that, to me, was the moment when I realized there was something to live for. And I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I just knew I wasn't supposed to give up. And what I want to tell you today is, first of all, you have to accept that you can't do it on your own. Because if you created that thinking in your head, you can't be the person that's going to uncreate it. And you have to ask for help. Now, my help came in a slightly roundabout way in that it was a person I absolutely hated, never wanted to be in the same room as, but he had actually said to me that he would help me. And that was what I had heard. He's an acting coach in LA, and I've spent the last year around people who are following their dreams, around people who every day are working on something they believe in and something they truly find joy and happiness in. And my life has changed completely. From the girl I was 2 years ago in bed to the girl I was a year ago wanting to end it all, my life has so much to it now. And it came from asking for help, being willing to do what other people told me worked, even if I couldn't see how it was. That was just stupid. But today, I've got a quote to finish on from Kermit the Frog, that life is a movie and you get to choose the ending. So thank you very much.
Wow, as I said, I mean, these are already amazing stories, and we're only 3 drops in the ocean. So we'll open the floor up to questions, but we also want to hear your stories. I am sure everyone sitting here has a pretty amazing story or something they've rewritten. So we'll open the floor up.
All right. My name is Shipe Malushi. I am a writer, a rewriter of the stories, a storyteller, a life coach, conflict resolution person, gender advisor, trainer, name it, I am that. As I go along collecting stories around in life, I keep rewriting my story along with helping other people rewrite the stories. The story I'd like to share with you is I was born to learn how to love myself more, which I never knew how, coming from an Albanian family where you are just like an Indian family or any other cultures where girls are not allowed to talk or become anything except wives and mothers and serve. I said no to everything, to status quo. I fought as a little girl against everything. So at age 14, I decided to run away from home and go back and become somebody, become an actress. I read in a magazine that singer Tom Jones had written that he helps talented orphans. In my view, I was an orphan and I was talented, so there it was. My rich grandfather had lots of money, so I stole 5,000 Deutschmarks in 1970s, which you could buy a house at that time, and put it in a school bag, and I stole my mother's passport that had a visa to Istanbul to go to Turkey. I lived in former Yugoslavia. The only exit was Turkey, went through her visa. I masked myself to look like my mother, put a scarf and put a pillow under my school uniform and looked pregnant. And at that time, I hired a taxi, filled it up with vegetables and fruits, and off we went to Istanbul. And with a driver at that time, age 14. So when we came to the border, I held till 5 minutes to midnight before the change of the guard because they were so tired. So when they looked at this pregnant Muslim girl with the scarf wrapped up, they just crossed the border. When we came to Bulgaria, they opened up the trunk. They saw vegetables. They were so hungry. They grabbed and confiscated everything. Nobody looked at me. Arrived to Turkey. I pulled out my pillow. Turks love legs. When I showed my legs, nobody looked at my face. Cross. Age 14. Arrived in Istanbul, went to 5-star hotel. I like style always, so arrived to 5-star hotel and splurged my grandfather's money. Went everywhere, went to the nightclubs. I had the famous Zeki Moran kiss my hand because I loved him. And so singer, yeah, he was a famous Turkish singer. Anyway, I roamed around looking for the way to go to London, meet Tom Jones to make me a star. But I never arrived to London at that time because I didn't know how to find a way. So Interpol was looking after me. My family found out. All of it became a big thing. The fear that I would be a wrong example for all the girls set up the fear in the whole community. They had meetings after meetings, what to do when they bring me back, if they find me. Anyway, this happened, and then so I managed to live a good life for 1 month and finished the whole money. But by then, the taxi driver had given them the hotel name, and so one guy comes and says to me, would you rob a store? I will help you go to London if you help me rob a store. I say, I help you rob a store. So what I have to do? You seduce the old man, I take the money, no problem. I go to seduce the old man in the store, and before you know, police takes hand on me. They bring me to the embassy. In the embassy, ambassador says, I'm sending you back with the airplane. I say, sir, I jump off the airplane. So he says, no, you're too dangerous. What to do? They put me in jail. First time in Turkish jail at age 14. Happened to be holiday, so I ended up for 10 days. And so I ran away from that jail 3 times, seducing the poor policeman who fell in love with me and fed me like that. So, but they caught me anyway, and they brought me back. And the court decided to give me for adoption. I didn't want to go home. They were going to kill me. So my mother came, and my uncles came, my mother came. My father died when I was 3, so I had no father. And my mother came. They put me in the front of the judge, and a beautiful Turkish lady with the blonde hair dressed up, and my poor mother with the scars and all that, and crying. And then judge says, choose. And I look at those 2 women. I want to go with the blonde, but I can't. So I go with my mother. Okay, I go with her tears. And so she takes me in, and the minute I'm out of the door, my uncles tie me with the rope, and that beginning to bring me home. I thought they were going to kill me. They did not kill me. They brought me home. They didn't kill me, and they let me go. I didn't know. Their punishment was silence. So the whole town punished me for 6 months with silence. Nobody talked to me. Nobody. No family, no siblings, no friends, no relatives. And teachers, when they will ask a question, I raise my hand. I was a brilliant kid. Nobody, I became invisible. And I walked with pride in their invisibility. People talked behind the windows, and I walked, I'll show you, I'll show you, I'll show you. And so since then 6 months later, they locked me in a room, and I was under house arrest for about a year. That's when I wanted to commit suicide, and I took my grandfather's pills, and they saved me. I left the door open. I left the pills so they know how to save me. They're really dumb grown-ups. They don't think very much. So they did save me, and from then on, I rewrote my story. So thank you very much.